TR County here with Delta Bloodline, but I'm starting a new podcast from Trouble Seeking Dog Teeth. I'm here with the one and only Mark. Mark, tell people about yourself.
I'm Mark Ross from BlackJack Malinois. I'm a Malinois breeder, FCI paper Malinois breeder from Mississippi. We've been breeding dogs for 2006, so 20 years now with the Malinois breed specifically. Before that, I was with the German Shepherds. Kind of my dad started German Shepherds years ago, so we've been in the working breeds for a while.
So, with your breeding program, so a lot of times I see different males from all around, from the sports side, the police side, and stuff. What have been your key to success in your breeding program amongst other breeders?
So a couple of things. I've owned pretty much every line of Malinois out there, from the X dogs to the different varieties of the paper dogs. So I started 20 years ago with an American bred pup from European lines. It was from a quality pedigree. It was a nice dog. Raised him from a pup. Sold him as a finished dog 2 years later. He had some IPO stuff in there, some KNPV type lines, but uh, over the years, I've had everything: French dogs, IPO dogs, Belgian ring dogs, the X dogs, and, the mixed mouse with the KMPV type lines. So after owning all of these, um, we're just going through a lot of dogs, a lot of unsuccess, really. I've really focused on the papered mouse, the FCI dogs, specifically the Dutch KNPV lines. Um, these have been, to me, some of the best working dogs out there. For I breed for a variety of purposes, mainly to produce working dogs, but there's some sub side effects to that, what we're producing. So we do strive to produce working quality dogs. Um, but in the process, we're producing active pets, sporting dogs, hobby pet dogs, hobby sport dogs. There's a number of different temperaments in a litter. My favorite lines are the papered FCI KNPV lines from the Netherlands. So the majority of the dogs we have now are from that type of background. For me, the consistency they produce with is key. In a litter, I feel that it's fairly easy for us to produce 50, 60, maybe even 70% in a great litter of working quality dogs. So, that's, I think, a bit above average what industry standard is. Most are happy around, I think, 50, 60 is a super litter. So it's really hard to accomplish that with the X dogs. They are great working X dogs. I won't take that from them, but it's very hard to breed them.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of decoys and people in different clubs may have noticed that. Like, yeah, they're either shit hot or they're worthless. So
Outside, yeah, one or the other. So if we had to just go back in time and there was a one specific bloodline you would like to get, what would it be?
from the stuff I like, the paper dogs, the 2B Airlines are really sought after. I mean, I have a lot of that. There was a dog named Dax that was a really influential dog in Europe. They were breeding to the X dogs and the paper dog. So for me, when I look at a stud in Europe, if the X dog people are using him to, do something in their lines, and then the paper dog, and it's a paper dog, they're not naturally just looking for a paper dog to use. So yeah, there's something special there. He was one of those dogs, and there's a number of others. But he's probably one of the biggest dogs that people are line breeding on, that sought after. Now he's, you'll be hard pressed to find anything closer than a grandson or daughter of his. Probably looking more like greats. He's probably fifth generation now, but um, he's one that I've had a lot of success line breeding on. I've had a son of his, a few of his offspring, a few grandchildren. And both of my stud dogs currently are grandsons of his. So the consistency I've seen with that line, I like it. Another dog I'm actively using a lot is Halden. They call him Shadow. He's an IPO dog. But he's in the Netherlands, so the Dutch IPO is a little
Mm-hmm.
different than what you see in other countries. I think they're a little stronger just by the KNPV influence in that country. But that's another dog I've had a lot of success with. The dogs are big, they're healthy, they're versatile. I mean, I've had KNPV title dogs from that line, IPO title dogs, police dogs, single purpose detection dogs, high end protection dogs. So they're really versatile in what they can produce and what they are producing. So I've used that a lot. So I've kind of blended those two lines. That's currently where I'm at, blending those two pedigrees different ways. Um, that pretty much sums up. There's a few other KNPV lines that I have, um, that are older, but the majority are the Tuieri and the Halden lines now.
So you said over 20 years. So I'm quite sure you've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars probably come through your facility here. Um, if there was two different lines that you don't currently have that you wish you could tap into, what would it be? Like some of your older stuff that you just like, man, I should have kept female off this dog. I should have kept a stud off this dog. And the reason I'm asking these questions here, because when you talk to a breeder, you just can't ask them, would that dog bite? Or would that dog do this and that? You got to actually try to get into their head to understand why they breed the way they breed.
So I've brought some quality dogs. One that comes to mind years ago, probably 10 years ago, I brought a pregnant female. I had the opportunity to buy a breeding female from a kennel in the Netherlands, and had her mated to a stud there. That was a PH1 dog, and his name's Side Effects. And I brought her over pregnant, but I was growing the business at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they were really sought after. So those puppies brought top dollar, and they were
Mm.
top quality pups. So I ended up selling them all. And that's one thing. Even to this day, I don't retain a lot of my program that maybe I should. I bring so many dogs from Europe, but we're proud to say here at Blackjack, you can get pick of the litter. We're not picking the best dogs and holding them. A lot of other folks that have quality lines, you'll never get the best dog in the litter. Here, I can say you honestly can get it because I don't keep a lot for myself. So, that's a big, I think, an advantage that we offer our customers, but it's a disadvantage for me not retaining the talent. But my business model has always been bringing dogs from Europe. So, we were talking earlier, 80-90% of my dogs are adult dogs that came from Europe. So, we'll go ahead and pick adult dogs. And for me, that's more efficient. Aside from the money aspect of it, it's more efficient in selecting quality breeding dogs because I'm looking at adults. I'm not raising puppies hoping they work out because you're going to have some loss with that. You're going to have some wasted time. So I kind of avoid that. We spend more money, but we're essentially buying time that we don't have to raise these dogs and see what happens.
You said that you don't keep your pick of the litter. So I know on the bully side of the house, there are a lot of people that keep their pick of the litter because they want to try to reproduce. But you taking the time to not only be here in the U.S. but to actually fly overseas to go and pick that quality that you like for your program to be able to not only better your program here but better other people's program as they buy from you as well. So hats off to you for that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I mean, I won't say this in the case all the time, but a lot of people are just trying to save money and they hold stuff that they already got in their yard. And yeah, I mean, but yeah, it develops a line too. But I mean, it's a good way to do it if you're picking the best pup. I mean, that's how we all should be selecting quality dogs. But I just take a different approach. I'm picking adult dogs and bringing them in, and then I have maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 dogs that I've kept back from my breeding program, which I don't know if that might sound like a lot to some, but that's
not.
that's not so many dogs for me. So yeah, I mean, a small percentage of my program is dogs we've kept from our breeding. A lot of them are coming from Europe, from the same type lines though. So for me, the lines I like are still available in Europe, and I'll just buy them adults. So whether I'm keeping them back or buying adults, it's the same thing on paper, essentially. What I have been doing is bringing a lot of frozen semen from Europe. So I have a collection of different stud dogs. So um, with the studs that I have on ice and the females I have in my kennel, the possibilities are endless. I mean, I have more semen frozen than I could probably use in my lifetime. Eventually, maybe that's another business that'll be a side of the business rather that we start and it's offering, different studs for different breeders. But at this time, I don't sell much of it. If any of the frozen, I keep it for myself. But that is interesting. So now it's like you mentioned, some of these dogs that I really like, they're old or dying or dead. We have them on ice. So, 10 years from now, boom, we can bring back the old lines. We did speak a little earlier, especially your sport dog people. I hate to pick on you, but they're so picky on titles and what they're going to breed and how they're going to do it that their dogs are half dead by the time they start breeding them. They're 5 and 6 years of age. So you're kind of damned either way. If it's a great producing dog, you're almost at the end of his producing life. Yeah, its semen quality is about to nosedive. Usually by if you're gonna freeze a dog, you want to do it before they're 6. We only do it around 5, 6 at the latest. By 7 or 8, probably 50% of dogs start losing semen quality, if not going sterile. So if you wait this long to decide it's a quality producer, you've wasted the dog's life. And then if you wait this long to decide he's a shitty producer, you've also wasted your time. So either way, you're in bad shape. So yeah, I mean that's really unfortunate, but we like to start as young as we can with these dogs. And we'll see what a male's doing by 2 years old. We're having a litter off of them to see what they're doing. If on paper, if it should be a stud quality dog, we need to breed this dog to see what it's going to produce. I mean, because I want to know if he's not producing anything of value, he needs to go get a job while he's still of age.
Right.
You don't want to, how hard is it for a 50-year-old man to find a job? It's not as easy as a 20-year-old man. So same with
Makes
these
sense.
dogs. When
Makes
he's 2,
sense.
if he's a shitty producer, he can go be a police dog. He can go do something. He can be a sporting dog for someone. But he doesn't need to be a breeder. So these are things, trial and error. People don't like to hear that, but at times as a breeder, you just have to throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
I like your honesty with that because see the breeder in me, I like to try to take some out as young as possible so I know that hey look, this here will work. This pairing is better together than the other pairing because of XYZ. But also I know that you breed this line to that line, then you might produce something that has too many birth defects for the bullet side of the house. Birth defects and all those things. So it has been a situation where you're like, this dog here is too strong to breed to this female dog. They say, I don't think I should do that because the average handler won't be able to take it, or do you still try at least one chance to?
I'd say there's different objectives for each litter. I mean, obviously, in general we're here to produce working quality dogs, but from litter to litter, you're going to have some variations. For instance, if someone wants more of a real dog, one that's not so sporty, one that's maybe got some real aggression to them, I might would point them one direction versus another versus someone that wants maybe a light duty sport dog that's a family dog, that's very social, so I do have different temperaments in the kennel that that will influence what they're producing. But even so, in a litter, you never yield 100% of anything. So, yeah, we have a spectrum of temperaments here at the kennel, but even more so, we have a spectrum of temperaments within one litter, within one pedigree, one combination. You're going to have a spectrum of litter of temperaments across the litter of puppies. So, if you consider that between these 10 puppies, there's a bit of a spectrum, and then between this big group of dogs, there's also a spectrum. So, from this end of the spectrum to this end, what we're producing is very different, or can be very different, even though they're all working quality lines, or even some of them are similar lines, just the pedigree is expressed in different ways. I have dogs out here that are from the same pedigree, siblings. One's extremely sporty and social, and one hates people and isn't a friendly dog, and they're raised by the same handler in the same place. So you can't say it's training or anything done different. It's just the natural inclination of the dog.
Well, you're basically saying that you can produce uh in one litter you can produce something that is good for one type of person, one spectrum, then one for somebody on the opposite side. Because everybody that think they might want a nice, real strong protection dog, when you do an evaluation of them, I guess you would say, and they say I want this type of dog for XYZ, you might say you saying that you want A quality, but in reality, you want A quality from this side of the line instead than from the working side of the line. Because I don't think, and I can't tell a story. I don't think that everybody that say they want a nice strong dog can actually handle a nice strong dog.
Yeah, I mean, we get that request a lot. We kind of take it with a grain of salt, especially if you can tell it's not a dog person or not a experienced person. Everybody, oh, I want a strong one and this and that. 90%, 95% don't want a strong one.
Yeah.
In regards to what I call a strong one,
Correct.
you know, one that's very dominant. A big misconception I find is they think a strong dog's a mean dog. Most of the time, the strongest dogs are very social usually, you
That's
know.
right.
But a mean dog's usually weak. Um, so yeah, the strong ones are, you know, it's a different dog than most people what they have in their mind. I mean, our program we've really evolved over the years. We try to produce everything. I've produced IPO title dogs, PSA title dogs, Mondio ring title dogs, police dogs, detection dogs, and just, you know, hobby pet and sport dogs as well. I've got dogs that have field trial titles like the bird dog thing because you know, we've done a bit of everything. So fly ball and all the different fast cat things, all the different barn hunt, and I've got people that have done a bit of everything with them. So we're not just producing one type of dog. And I think that's a strength of our program is we have so many dogs that we're able to satisfy more than one need. I find some other kennels, which no problem, but if the owner's involved in sport, then everything's specific to that. You know, some of the IPO people, that's all they have is IPO lines, these certain German lines usually, or maybe some of the American lines, but they're kind of niche into that one thing, one area, which is good if they're selling to IPO people, no problem. But um, we've been successful in a broad spectrum of working type homes for these dogs. So, uh, yeah, it's nice to see the dogs performing in the sub disciplines, if you will, of the different sports and different jobs. The one thing that allows us to do that is the volume of dogs that we produce or bring. We bring a lot of dogs from Europe. So I sell police dogs, I sell finished protection dogs, we sell finished working dogs, scent detection dogs, what have you. But by bringing all these dogs, we see a lot of adult dogs. We can kind of pick and choose through those dogs what we want for our breeding program. And then it's no problem for us if we don't like a dog. It's still a working dog and we'll sell it and it has a job and everybody's happy. So where most breeders don't get to do that, they don't get to look at so many dogs and be so selective of adult dogs for their program. They're, you know, if they do buy a dog, they're buying it specifically to breed. And if it's not what they want, hopefully they get rid of it, but a lot of them, if they pay a lot of money for it, they're probably going to keep it and, you know, do what they can with it, even if they don't really love it. That is something that I think has helped us a lot be successful is we can be more selective and it doesn't cost us so much money because we can still sell those dogs. We have an outlet for the waste, I guess you would say.
You just told me you have not only quality, but you have quantity as well. That's a big thing when you are a breeder. You need to see how can I satisfy different customer, different spectrum. Now, I will say this: the only dog that has hurt me so bad that I had to limp for about a month and a half came through your yard. The dog name is Bron. Bron, I was a decoy. He hit me. I do a flea bite. He hit me and he rolled me, and I think I lived for about a month and a half.
And that's a
So,
quality dog. And that what he's doing PSA, right?
yeah, you guys three PSA.
Yeah, the PSA 3 dog, and he comes from Mondio ring. Well, right up front in the pedigrees, Mondio ring dogs to show you how versatile the lines are. They're for Mondio ring stuff, and then if you go a bit further back, it's KNPV stuff. So I mean, they're doing KNPV, Mondio ring, PSA in one pedigree, not even reaching too far back. That dog actually, if you go far enough back, the dog I mentioned earlier that I brought a pregnant female maybe 10 years ago, that Idefix dog, that's some of the lines that are way back in that pedigree, the Iraq's home dogs. They're really nice dogs back then. That's what those lines are producing. Good example of the versatility.
Bron, like as strong as this dog is, like you said earlier, some of your stronger dogs are very social. You see Bron on the street, you would just think that he's just a male, like a male that doesn't know anything at all, but he really is a good committed dog to whatever job he's into at that particular time. With all that being said, he has several dogs, several puppies for sale. Reach out to him. We're gonna put his information and stuff somewhere around this thing. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, so we have pups pretty much year round. We sell all ages dogs. So if we don't have what you're looking for, we're bringing dogs from Europe monthly. So we can bring whatever you're after as long as the money's there. We can find it. We still can bring quality dogs from Europe, and we still do. But a lot of times, right now, I have pups, newborn pups, a group that's 6 weeks, 8 weeks. I have a few 6-month-old pups. I have a Finnish protection dog here, a few green police dogs. So, we have a nice mix. Just depending on what you're after, what you're trying to spend. So we can help you out regardless of your budget and your experience level. So we put you in something nice. And the probably one of our strongest points is if you come here, we can show you a dog that won't work for you that you don't like, and we can show you one that will work for you that you do like. So we're not forcing a fit here. You can see a lot of dogs, see a lot of pups, and really be confident in your decision, because we're not just, hey, here's your puppy, you need to buy this one. It's, you can look at a few and get a feel for what you like, don't like, and what you're after. And we're here to help you with the selection process, especially those that are looking for some guidance. We're
Yeah.
happy to give you our 2 cents. We learned a thing or two in 20 years.
Well, so hopefully, hopefully we'll see you in the Netherlands one of these days too. Me and this guy and somebody else, a couple of people too. That's one thing. But hey, who knows? He has a handler course here. Uh, he has plenty of dogs here as well. And one of the biggest things, hopefully, we could talk him into having some kind of event out here where it is to show the quality of dogs they have to the public. So if you are interested into it, might do something special out here. Thanks, sir, for your time.
Yep. Good talking to you, TR.
All right.
As always.